our books. We're going to talk about a subject today that is very important, and these are in the lobby. 3 little books that I want to recommend to every student. One is called The Power of Vision. The other one is called Keys to Change, and the third one is called Keys to Leadership. Very simple books to put in your bag or take with you. And these are the things that I'm involved in. I'm involved in leadership training. Here's a picture of me with the president of Haiti. Right after the earthquake, we flew in there and did consulting with the government to help put that nation back together. We're still working with them. This is a picture of the entire government of Curacao being taught leadership and training from the top level. This is also a picture here of the Dominican Republic's president, where we are training them in leadership development. And then this is also a photograph of us doing work with the leaders in the beautiful nation of Aruba. Very important, hunger in the hearts of the people. And here I am in the middle of the cabinet of a nation, teaching them principles of leadership from the Bible. Nations are crying out, wanting to know, how do I change the world? And one of the greatest opportunities I had was to be able to influence Mr. Nelson Mandela. You never know where an ORU student will end up. That's why I wanted you to see those photographs. I used to sit in that seat over there that I told you about last time. I didn't know that I would be able to influence nations and impact countries and make a difference in the world. I remember going to the library here at the LRC. I remember walking across the campus under the prayer tower, dreaming of doing this one day. And it's real that I was able to leave the pack and take leadership. ORU is about leadership. And you are sitting next to someone who you don't know. As a matter of fact, one day, they're going to be glad they sat next to you. So shake their hands right now. Tell them congratulations what you're about to do. What I want to talk to you about today, then, is something that has been misunderstood. I want to shock you today. When I was here at Oral Roberts University, I had exactly what you had, a dream. I had a big dream. And I remember staying up all night studying for my exams. I took 3 bachelor's degrees in 4 years at this school. I never took less than 23 credit hours every semester. And yet I was involved in the Indian mission every weekend. I was involved in the campus missions outreach to Peoria. I traveled in missions every summer. I was involved in visiting the hospital and praying for the sick while I was studying here, and graduated with honors. In other words, you don't need to be a nerd to be successful. Get involved in missions. And what I discovered was, write this down please, that every human has a leadership greatness. Young woman, you were not born just to make a living. You were born to make a difference. You were not born just for a career. You were born for a call. And I want to talk to you about that. And those of you watching this live by television, this is for you too. 6.7 billion people on earth today were all born with what I call a gift of leadership. In other words, there is a deep, hidden leadership gift God put in 6 billion people. But most of us die as followers. And that's because we don't understand our personal leadership gift. Here's my philosophy. Every human was born to be a leader, but not over people. One of the most amazing things I discovered about God is that there are only 2 animals God related himself to and identified with. And he created them both. One is the eagle. God says, I will bear you up like eagles bear their young. I will stir your nest like an eagle stirs its nest. He kept identifying with an eagle because the eagle is obviously a leadership bird. He's the greatest bird on earth. The second animal God related to is the lion. The lion is the king of the jungle. He is the master of the animal world. And I've seen the lion in action physically, personally, many times when I went to visit Africa. And here's something I concluded, that an army of sheep led by a lion will always defeat an army of lions if they are led by a sheep. Let me repeat it, because you missed it. And that's my point. An army of sheep led by a lion will always defeat an army of lions if they are led by a sheep. Why? Because leadership determines the attitude of the followers. A true leader can transform cowards into warriors. Now here's the mystery about the lion. The lion is not the tallest animal in the jungle. He's not the strongest. He's not the biggest, the most powerful. He's not the most intelligent animal in the jungle. But yet the lion is the leader. Tell your neighbor there's hope for you. Listen to me. The lion destroys everything they taught you about leadership. You were taught in your culture that to be a leader, you got to be the most intelligent, the strongest, the most powerful, the biggest, the tallest. But the lion defies that. The elephant is 50 times larger than the elephant and 200 times more powerful than the lion. The elephant is stronger than the lion. The giraffe is 18 times taller than the lion. The wildebeest is 50 times bigger than the lion, and yet the lion eats them for lunch. What's the key to the lion's success? One word, write it down. Attitude. Everybody say attitude. What makes the lion a leader is not his size, his strength, his weight, his power, or intelligence. It's his attitude. And that's what changed me as an ORU student. I discovered something, that attitude comes from your belief. You begin to discover that your potential can achieve anything, and that belief produces confidence. What makes me bold to stand in the midst of the presidents of countries and to sit with Mr. Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, and give advice, to sit in the presence of great leaders and let them get advice from me, is because I have a conviction and an attitude that comes from a belief system that I discovered from God. The Bible says that a wise man is stronger than an army. In other words, I am convinced that the difference between a leader and a follower is not weight, size, intelligence, or power. It's simply attitude. And attitude is natural because attitude controls your behavior. It determines how you respond to life. It also can open doors for you or close them. Attitude is also what determines how you limit yourself. I have come to believe, young man, young woman, that nothing is impossible. I actually believe that. It's not a phrase or positive thinking to me. It is a reality from a discovery. I'm afraid of nothing. When the lion sees an elephant, power, strength, energy, weight, intelligence, the little lion looks at this massive monster and simply thinks one word. It's a simple word. Everybody say lunch. In other words, the lion doesn't see the power. He doesn't see the strength. He doesn't see the size. He doesn't see the intelligence. He sees what he thinks. It's lunch. And that perception controls his behavior. In other words, write this down. Attitude determines your limitations. Attitude also is a part of your belief. The lion believes he can eat the elephant. His belief reduces the elephant to lunch. Listen, nothing is as big as it is. It's as big as you see it. Nothing is as powerful as it really is. It's as powerful as you see it. And in other words, your life is exactly what you think it is. And attitude is manifested by that belief system. And therefore, your philosophy of life is a product of your ideas of what you see. I've come here today to change you in 30 minutes. Because if you can just see yourself differently, everything else changes around you. In essence, let me put it this way, and write this down, please. The power of leadership comes from belief and attitude. Look at those lions. They don't care how big the elephant is, it's lunch. Do you know that the lion looks at the elephant, reduces it to lunch, and the elephant, even though he's bigger and stronger, looks at the little cat lion and actually trembles? Which means that the elephant makes the lion larger than himself. And the lion makes the elephant smaller than himself. And it happens right between the ears. How do you see your dream, your vision? Do you think it's impossible? No, it's simply lunch. How do you get to think like this? I want to tell you something very simple. Write this down. You cannot become beyond your belief system. You are exactly what you believe. And if you want to change, you have to change your belief system. In essence, you will only change when your belief system changes, because you cannot lead beyond your philosophy. And your philosophy is your way of thinking. And you can only lead out of your philosophy because you will change when your philosophy changes. The word philosophy sounds like a big word, but it's simply two words put together. It's the word philo and osophy. Philo means to love. Osophy means to think. So a philosophy simply is what you fall in love with your own thoughts about. A philosopher is simply somebody who loves their thoughts so much they believe them. And every human on earth has a philosophy. There's a man right now sleeping under a bridge in this city on a cardboard box. He has a philosophy of life. There's a drug dealer somewhere in the night about to sell some pills to someone. He has a philosophy of life. Your philosophy is what you've come to believe as truth. And if your philosophy is coming from a wrong truth, or an improper thought, or corrupt ideas, then your life will be corrupt. In other words, Solomon was right. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Here's what I discovered is God's philosophy. You might want to remember this as long as you live, because this is what changed me at Oral Roberts University. Number one, every human was created to lead. What did I say? Every human was created to lead. Say it with me. Every human was created to lead. Now, the problem with that statement is most of you professors in here got a problem with that. Because your first thought is, if everybody's a leader, who's going to follow? I used to believe that. I was born in a country in the Bahamas where we were oppressed by the British Empire for 294 years. We were taught we were second-class citizens and we could never rule. Today, I have the highest honor from the Queen of England called the OBE Award, presented by the Queen herself on me. Now, they used to tell me that I was a half-breed monkey, but now I got the OBE. They were confused. They said, how do you move from being a subjected spirit to a ruler in the world? Simple. I changed my mind. Every human possesses leadership potential, but not the way you think. Every human was born to lead, but most of them will die as followers, and I hope you're not one of them. Stop pursuing a career. That's boring. Pursue an assignment. Leadership is not only your history, you came from it, but it's also your future. You were created a leader. And the world needs your leadership. I had no idea, sitting in this chapel years ago, that I would be called on by entire nations to come and guide them through crisis. I didn't know that trapped inside of me, sitting in the cafeteria, eating that interesting food, that inside of me was a leader who would advise presidents of countries, and prime ministers would call me for advice. I had no idea, but inside of me was that great leader. I guarantee you that your professors don't know who you are. Don't believe anything anyone tells you on this campus. Here's why. Here's why. Here's why. In other words, don't believe their opinions of you. Here's why. Because no one knows a product like the manufacturer. In other words, trapped inside of every follower is a hidden leader. And every human was created to lead and designed for it. In essence, leadership potential resides in everybody, and you were born to lead, but you must become a leader. And what I mean by that is, inside of a seed is a tree. Am I right? If I hold a mango seed in my hand, what am I holding? A mango tree. But not just a mango tree, because in the seed there's a tree, but the tree also has fruit. And the fruit on the tree and the seed also got seeds. And those seeds in the fruit on the tree in the seed also got trees and fruit. And those fruit got seeds with trees that have fruit that have seeds that have trees that have fruit with seeds with trees that have fruit that have seeds with trees that have fruit that have seeds with trees that have fruit. And those seeds got trees with fruit that have seeds with trees that have fruit. And those trees got seeds with fruit that have seeds that have trees that have fruit. What do I have in my hand? Not a seed, a forest. And that's the way God works. God never places your future ahead of you. Your future is not ahead of you. Stop telling people you are going to your future. God created everything with the future trapped in it. There's a leader inside of you. Freshman, junior, sophomore. Listen to me, seniors. Nobody knows you yet. And you are carrying your future with you. God hid your future where he knew you couldn't miss it. But your problem is your culture has taught you that it's somewhere else. And you spend all your life looking for yourself, and it's trapped. I've come to tell you, young man, even your professors don't know who you are. You're only here temporarily. There are books inside of you. Inside of you is a great leader who's supposed to counsel nations. Soccer players, that's only temporary. There's a bigger woman inside of you. There's an awesome man trapped in you. And what you're doing in this phase of your life is just learning how to manifest that self. In other words, you were born to lead, but you must become. The same way a seed was born to be a forest, but it must become the forest. And how does a seed become a forest? Not difficult. Write this down. Environment. If I took a seed and placed it on the windowsill of a tiled bathroom and leave it there for 40 years, it will still be a seed. Why? Wrong environment. And that's why a lot of young people don't become great. They stay with the wrong people, read the wrong books, watch the wrong television programs, and hang around the wrong company. Why? They are trapped in the wrong environment. I discovered years ago that the environment is more important than the product. You take a fish out of its environment, it dies. Take a plant out of the soil, it dies. Take you out of your environment God intended for you, you will never manifest yourself. That's why there's some people who came to this school that you shouldn't be with, because they came here with the wrong motivation. They don't want to study. They don't want to be around intentional development. They want to goof off and eat pizza every night and go off the campus and do foolishness. But you got to be careful. Don't let anyone trap your greatness. Listen to me. The purpose for true leadership, therefore, is to help other people manifest themselves. That's why you are the president here. You are really a cultivator. And God has given you thousands of seeds, and he said, I want a forest. Professors, you're not here just to collect a paycheck. You are a cultivator of a seed. I sat in those classrooms years ago, and some professors said to me, you will never make it. My books are in libraries in 7 universities today. In other words, you need to remember that your leadership gift is inside of you, because God's plan was never to have a kingdom ruled by a king, but rather a kingdom of kings. That's why he's called not the king of subjects, he's called the king of kings. God's plan was corporate leadership. His plan was for you to become an organization of leaders, not an organization with a leader. Everyone here is a leader. Listen to me carefully, and I beg you, please. Listen. I am convinced that the philosophy of the world concerning leadership is wrong. And that's why I'm being invited by Fortune 500 companies to come in and change their psychology, to switch the paradigm. They read my books and they say, who is this man? We've never thought like this before. But I simply stole mine from Jesus. Here's what Jesus said about leadership. He said, if you want to be great, he says, you must learn to dominate, but not people. Listen to me. When God created you, here's what he said about you. Let them have dominion over fish, birds, cattle, and creeps. He never mentioned people, which means you were not created by God to be dominated by another human. You are not on the list. You are the dominator. That means that you were born to govern, to control, to lead, to manage. You were born to be in charge and to be the authority over the resources of earth. You were never created to dominate other people. That's why leaders who dominate people are manipulators. Never trust a person who wants to control you. God himself doesn't control people. That's why he allows you to sin. He gave you a free will. His desire is for you to be great, but he never imposed it on you. In other words, and I close with this, man was not created to dominate mankind. That's why God hates racism. He hates segregation. He hates oppression. Why? Because oppression and racism and segregation is an attempt to control another human spirit and to put value on it. No one can value your ability. Tell your neighbor, you ain't seen nothing yet. That's right. When you manifest, they're going to be shocked that you are another ORU student that's about to impact the world. Here comes the ORU graduates. Come on, talk to me. In other words, the original purpose, God extended himself to earth, is for you to be kings over earth and to dominate earth in an area of influence. And I say to all of you watching this program today, you were born to be great. You were born to be an influence. Do it and let God glorify himself through you.